Hi guys, I'm Sunny Chayes. We're in Hollywood, California. It's Monday at 1 o'clock, and I am so excited to be here with you today. I'm going to be talking with a most wonderful person. His name is Billy Mandarino, and we are going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects right now, which is kind of bringing everything sacred and spiritual and cosmic and conscious into every part of our lives. No more are we going to be separating all of these aspects. No more, the time has changed. We all know that. The time has changed for us to lift it up, bring it, and give it out. So you know what? Let's just bring on Billy. So shall we, Ari? Let's just bring on Billy. Hi. I just want to get right to it. I'm going to chat about how amazing you are as we go through. I hope you know that that's what I do. I edify all through the show.
Thank you.
Go ahead and you do it too.
I'm feeling you big time. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Thank you.
Well, I'm so happy for you to be here. And let us first clink our glasses with our special water
Saluti.
to the new life. Salud, salud.
Amen, sister. Thank you so much.
Yummy. So the reason I'm so excited to have you on the show today is that often I have, you guys know I have all different kinds of people who are really in sacred politics or environment or trees or color or whatever it is. And when I met you and I read your book, The NOW-IST, I was so grateful and excited to see the really solid merging of everyday life, perhaps we could call it that, everyday activities, and doing those with sacred consciousness, spiritual energy, love, fun, brotherhood, sisterhood. So that's what, I got so many things out of your book, but anyway, that's why I have you on my show today, because you rock.
Honored. You rock too, sister. Thank you so much.
You.
I'm really honored to be here. It's exciting.
Thank you. So I didn't tell you guys before, but Billy is an amazing musician. He's a real estate person, or rock star. He does something that I think is really cool. He goes around and he speaks to real estate peeps who used to have an idea about kind of how to sell a house, and everybody gets the inspirational talk and do the goals and write out things and do your mantras and all that, and Billy speaks to the people from kind of a different direction, and I think of it as so now. I really do. It's like so, happening and so fresh, and I think really, really impactful from what I'm hearing. So go in.
Thank you so much. I literally just came from Italy, Florence, Italy, a few days ago, and I gave a presentation, my keynote presentation, which I've been giving all over the United States, and it was my second time I got to speak internationally. And my keynote is called Now Become a Real Estate Agent. To get in that state, that is the title of my book, a NOW-IST. To be a NOW-IST means that somebody can live consistently in the present moment, in your life, in your emotional life, your physical life, your spiritual life, your familial life, and your work life.
Yeah.
And in real estate, being a real estate professional for many, many years, there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of stressed out realtors, and they're missing out on their family's life. They're missing
and
out.
pressure, and competition.
Absolutely.
And it used to be, not to interject, but I just will briefly, I remember back in the day, it was like, the more you stepped on other people to get to the top or get somewhere, the better, where
That's
now,
right.
like, can we live a different way?
And that's my mission. That's my great dharma, my great purpose, is to go all over the world and create consciousness, create awareness, to create a legion of NOW-ISTs, people that would live in the present moment more consistently. So I've chosen to start my real estate community because there's so much stress and so much worry and fear and so much goal setting, if you will. I mean, to be a realtor, you set a big goal for the beginning of the year to sell a lot of houses, to make a lot of money, and then you lose sight of your presence because you get so focused on the outcome. Well, my keynote speech teaches you how to get in the present moment consistently. I make a claim in my book that 90% of the day I live in the present moment. I'm a NOW-IST. 10% of the day it hits the fan and it goes sideways. You get upset and you get freaked out and you lose your presence. But I correct quickly.
Yeah.
And that's what I teach in my keynote and in my book, specifically to teach people how to have these triggers, these exercises, these principles to live as a NOW-IST. And when you do that, you don't set goals anymore. You think from the end instead of about the end. Setting a goal,
I like that.
Setting a goal is about the end. You think, that's about the end. I used to write them on my bathroom mirror. I would write 10 goals. I would always set them on my birthday, not the new year. And I would look at those goals and I would feel nervous and get upset and think, I've got to get a record deal. Back in the day, my focus was only to get a $3 million record deal. That was my number one goal every year. And I was always focused on, the end, about the end. It was always two-ness. And I always say, how could the God of oneness ever recognize two-ness? I learned that
like
and read
that.
in an ancient teaching of how could the God of oneness ever recognize two-ness? And a goal is two-ness. So if I'm going to attach to the oneness that is me, I need to think from the end. And from the end is imagining that goal already exists now, here now. So when I'm in this present moment, I'm imagining what I want to manifest. For instance, if I wanted to sell a property, I'd already imagine that family in the house at Christmas.
Yeah.
I'd imagine them around the table. I'd imagine what it felt like to have the love in the house. Not so much about what I'm going to get out of the commission of the house.
You would feel it. And I have a lot of masters who I've been playing with lately who are really moving from enlightenment to embodiment. In particular, Dr. Sue Morter, who you guys have heard me talk a lot about, and she's been on the show. Really bringing it into the body. That's why we're here on Earth.
Right.
In the other realms, we don't have the body and we don't have this opportunity. So to bring the feeling like that Christmas morning and smelling the turkey starting to happen and all that. And you know what I'm finding? One of the things that I really liked about your book, there are a couple of things that I wrote down, and where are my notes to talk about them, because with so much going on in the world, I think one of the things that we've forgotten, especially people who might be over like 9 or 15, is fun. And really, where is fun and what is fun and all of that. And so when I was reading different things in your book, I was thinking, the idea of fun, it sort of seems and feels frivolous perhaps, and it's like there's so many serious things going on. And yet I realized when you come to the place, or I know when I come to the place where I'm just more in the moment. You're probably more in the moment than I am. I have to say 90%. You got me on that one. However, when I am, and I remind myself, I'm having fun right now. Like I can get nervous about even doing this show. I mean, even though I've done 300 or over that number, I get nervous, but thank you. I get nervous before every show because every single show is new. Every experience is new. And it feels it. I feel it. And so I remind myself, oh my gosh, I'm having fun getting ready. I get to drive to the studio. I don't have to. I get to come in and, chat with all the people here and make sure you have good, everything is taken care of for you. I get to bring great water. And when I move it from have to get, it's one of the areas where I can feel the gratitude and I can feel the fun and I can feel the purpose. Like, yay! I mean, this is awesome. It's not the other. So I know you can speak to that all day long.
Well, that's it. To be, in one of the chapters of the book, it's childlike bewilderment. To live as a child, to be in that bewilderment that is the innocence of children. Because if you watch children play, they're not concerned about time and past and future. They just want to play and have fun and be in the moment, and not care so much what people think of them. So you're absolutely right. If you can learn to be childlike and be in that state of bewilderment consistently throughout your day, that's being a now-ist. Children are now-ists.
That's it.
And in nature, everywhere you look, there is this presence of now-ists. Hummingbirds. I love hummingbirds because they are, think about how whimsical and childlike they are. They call them nature's now-ists.
And I will say also about hummingbirds, they're one of the most efficient sentient beings on this planet. So that's the other thing that I think we've mixed up a little bit, some of us more than others, and of course in real estate for sure, where hard work is not always the object of the game. Having fun and feeling gratitude and enjoying everything you're doing.
Being done.
And yes, and the what do I want to say? The value of that and the efficacy of that. In other words, it doesn't mean you're just not doing. You can still be doing. You still can be accomplishing. Most probably even more so.
That's right. We need to be in the being mode, not the doing mode. Because once again, back to not setting goals. So I believe setting goals with your soul. So you're not really thinking about doing, like you've got a goal you really want to, make a lot of money or sell a lot of houses or be famous and all these kind of material, tangible goals. But it's really when you can get out of the way and just be done. Like it says in the Tao Te Ching, you're not doing anything, you're just being done. Who beats your heart, who grows your hair, who grows your fingernails. You're not doing anything, you're just being done.
Indeed.
So when you align with that and you put your attention, your awareness, your present moment awareness on what you want to manifest, your imagination creates your reality. And there's no effort in doing.
And imagination is so incredible. When we think of that, I mean, there are many people who've talked about imagination right now. The beginning of the music that we just heard coming on is a combination of Pure Imagination from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which I love, and Imagine by John Lennon, kind of, stirred together musically. And of course, anything that we're looking at right now, or doing, or seeing, or feeling, or having, or drinking, was in the imagination before it's here. So it's so great to think that we can really imagine what we want our reality to be, and even our world to be.
Well, Leonardo da Vinci says at first,
one of my faves.
At first, it's in your mind, and then it's in your hand. So your imagination is where everything is created.
And I love thinking of Leonardo da Vinci, because I think of all the things. This is a perfect example of the power we have as one, and kind of timing, because Leonardo da Vinci invented so many things that the collective wisdom couldn't catch, couldn't consider, could not imagine. How in the world are we from the earth going to be going in the sky? What is that about? It is impossible. And, so he could imagine it, but it's also us. I feel like, yes, we have the power of one, and it's also playing with our peeps.
That's right. His imagination obviously shaped a lot of the world and inventions that never even come to pass. I mean, he's got sketchbooks of hundreds, thousands of different ideas. He just was open like a child. He was just in that bewilderment of creation and imagination. There's no limits.
Yes,
the only limits we put are our thinking mind. We need to connect to that part, our beingness, that comes from the infinity, comes from the universe, comes from the divine mind, where constant creation is just effortless. It's actionless doing.
I love that thing that you said in the book, the active side of infinity. Do you want to talk to that?
That's from Dr. Wayne Dyer, actually. That's from his book, The Power of Intention. And Dr. Wayne is as a soul brother to me. He passed on, but he's a huge influence from me writing the NOW-IST. I mean, even from the other side, I just feel his presence often. And sometimes he manifests to me, and it sounds ethereal and a little crazy, but I think your audience and your viewers and your listeners can get this, and they understand where I'm coming from, because probably a lot of them have read The Power of Intention, which is one of his most powerful books, because it changed a lot of people's lives.
Yes.
Because they learned that you have this intention, this power of intention. And he called it the active side of infinity, because when you have an intention, you're activating this infinite power that's within all of us, this oneness. I mean, what is now spelled backwards?
Wow, one.
Exactly. N-O-W
like
spelled
one,
backwards.
like
W-O-N. Exactly. So when you're in the now, you have won your presence back. It's also O-N-E, a homonym, one infinite source, one divine mind. So when you connect to that, that's the active side of infinity. That's when you can start creating and manifesting from that place, which is your beingness, not your doingness. And that's really how you create the power of intention. The power of oneness comes from being actively connected to your beingness, which is in the present moment.
Yay, thank you. And Ari, our engineer, is bringing up, you don't see this, but she's bringing up the infinity sign and all these cool things for people who get to see this in the
We're co-creating
video.
Co-creating at its best, and that's how it should be.
Oh my God. Well, another thing that I wanted to bring up that I love that you have in the book is called, and at some point we'll bring up the cover. There we go. The NOW-IST, Finding the Signs to Your Ultimate Desires in No Time. And what I love about that is the double meaning of that, in no time, meaning in no time, like instantaneously, and in no time, meaning let's let go of time.
Exactly.
So I really love that. You have so many quotes in here by so many different people about the aspect of how time is a limitation. Of course, we know it's man-made. None of that is anything that means anything to the trees or to the rest of the world other than us. I mean, other than, of course, ancient civilizations worked with the cycles of the earth, the moon, the stars, the plant, this kind of the seasons. Right. But other than that, and night going to day and day going to night in an honoring aspect, and the rebirth of the new morning every time, and using it in a sacred way, using it in a symbolic way also. But yeah, so you talk a lot about time in your book.
Well, time is the ultimate illusion.
No time.
Exactly. Actually, so finding the signs to your ultimate desires in no time. The no time for me is the now, is the present moment. Because in the present moment, there is no time.
Right.
Because everything that ever happened to you in your life, Sonny, happened in a now moment, happened out of time. We might think that they're memories and we have these points of time we go back to and visit, but the power that you have is in the present moment. That's
Yes.
why to be a nowist, to me, is one of the highest callings that you can answer and aspire to live as a present moment being, a nowist, because you'll take stress out of your life. And that's the problem with time, is, the past and the future tend to guide most of people's lives, and they have this stress involved.
And the fear, really, underneath it is the fear
Exactly.
of whatever that is. Fear I won't get the job, but ultimately it's a fear that I'll be a loser,
Which is an illusion.
or I won't be loved, or I'll be, that lowest fear. And one thing that I love that you brought in, I was talking about sacred things and rituals and stuff like that, and you were talking a bit about death in this book, about death to things, and I loved how you tied in Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
And how the death of each night and a day, of course, we've heard much about in sacred teachings, but the death to the past, just all right already.
You need to
All
die
right already,
before
people.
you die. That's what's one of the chapter titles of my book. Die before you die.
Right. I love that.
Yeah, you need to live in the present moment. And time is the illusion. So we need to die to time. To be a nowist means you die to time. Every moment you're present. You're not in time. You're in that infinity that is the present moment. Because there's no past, there's no future. And I love the bewilderment. And of Halloween, there is this childlike, bewilderment. That one night where everybody gets to just be somebody they imagine themselves to be, and they buy into it. And I've always loved Halloween because it helps me live as a child. And to this date, it's for 25 years, my good friend and I, the Moment Man, he's in the book, Neil D., one of my best friends, he lives like a child. Every time people,
fun.
adults around him, children around him, we connect to this bewilderment that is our nature. Your childlike nature is always within. You could be 95 and still have a childlike
Oh, yeah. I
heart.
know some.
Your soul lives, in this timeless realm. So why not connect to that infinite part of you that is very childlike? So at Halloween, that's why I talk about it in the book, that's when people get to live in their imagination. They get to live out of time in this whimsical world that is this fantasy just for a night. But if more people died to that false self, the ego, the part that lives in the past and lives in the future, lived as that childlike, being that lives in Halloween, which is so full of exuberance and fun. You talked about having fun before the show and not getting caught up in the doing, but live in that bewilderment. That's when you connect to the genius part of you that lives out of time and lives as a nowist, which is that bewilderment.
I love that. And of course, there's the Halloween is actually from the Day of the Dead, actually, is what it comes from, and honoring our ancestors. So it's a very deep holiday also. And I completely agree with you where it's sort of like letting go of, suspending belief, literally. So
That's
it's
right.
like I can be, whatever it is that I feel like I want to be. And it's so fun.
Be yourself, because your authentic
Yeah.
self is that childlike person.
And play. It's another
fun,
thing. I'm
have fun.
all about the play. There's some places now where they're doing, which I think is so funny, businesses come out of necessity often, right, guys? And, okay, this is an idea for you guys out there. You can create playgrounds places. There's a place in L.A. I think it's actually called Play, and it just was developed in the last couple months where you can go and play. And they have not just things like jacks and hopscotch and games and stuff that you can play like Twister and whatever those
Be a
crazy
child, right?
games.
Be fun.
But they do a lot of fun stuff there that it works to do with other people. We can do it by ourselves. And I thought, now how wild is it that we've come to a place where there are businesses who have created places for us to play? Okay, well, it's sort of a little sad and sort of
It is. We have to work
bitchin'
to
also.
play now. We have to think about it. We say schedule time to be yourself, to be that.
Or to go and have somebody show us how to play.
Right.
But, okay, cool, fine, whatever it takes. But I think it's, we'll just remind you guys right now, let's play, and I think we have a judgment about that. Like my kids sometimes will get mad at me when I say, they say, Mom, you can't say that anymore. I say, oh, I'm having a friend come over, we're going to play. And their mom, come on, you can't say that. You're too And now I say, you don't get it because now it's come back around. And I can say that because now it's cool to say that. Don't you think?
You've got to be in the moment. You've got to learn to play. And the great thing about it is by osmosis. If you're
And
around
excuse me,
people.
like play guitar?
Yeah, well, music is definitely a part of
Play
connecting to
piano?
that innocence, that purity that is the harmonic universe. That when you can play if you're a musician, you can play an instrument or sing or create music. You're connecting to that wild, unbridled energy that is
And
that
imagination. The other thing about play, I just was thinking of that when I said play piano or play guitar, is there's an element to that which means I haven't arrived yet. I'm playing at it. Like you practice yoga. I'm playing. I'm doing it now. You know, it's not what I did yesterday, and it's not how good I'm going to be tomorrow. I'm playing right now. So there's something in there when I feel that, being a musician myself, that there's some space in there. You know what I mean? It kind of makes it not dense, but it makes it more spacious somehow. Opens the weave of it.
That's right. You got
the
to allow it.
molasses of
You
our
have to
life.
allow it. Every time, being a songwriter and a singer and a performer, you try to create music, and you think, oh, I got to have a show, I got to create a song, I want it to sound like this, I want it to satisfy this emotion in me, or artistically create this expression. But it's not until I learn to let go of the trying and the doing, and allow myself just to let the music come through. I pick up an instrument, and the song comes through. I don't try to create; I just allow. And if we took a note out of a child's playbook, if you will, where you watch them play, you watch somebody master it at an instrument, they're not trying so hard. I mean, they're not taking years to practice to be proficient or a virtuoso. But when they're truly honoring the music and they're connecting and they're just letting it come through them, that's when you're a nowist. That's when you're in the moment. That's when your timing is good. You're in flow. There's no doing.
Right, like they say, the instrument's playing me.
Exactly.
Like when we were talking about golf, the same idea, finding that or just allowing that stroke to be what it is.
It chooses you. You don't choose it.
Right, like Bagger Vance. You guys read that book. Don't worry about the movie so much, but read the book. I love that book.
I love
it's like
golf.
one of the most,
I love golf. So.
And you love golf, and a lot of people do. And it's, but again, that's an example of finding the sacred in something. I've gotten into gardening lately because I've had so many people on the show who talk about earthing and being in the earth, and how healing it is for kids to just, especially
Grounded,
urban people, to be in the ground, literally in the ground, with the microbes and all of that just gets absorbed into our body so beautifully, and just the fun of that, and also having things grow, and it's just just play. I love it. I love it.
Interesting symbiotic relationship between. There's a study that came out talking about how when you, Sonny, create your garden, and you have an ailment in your system, in your body, in your physiology, those vegetables and plants will create the exact enzyme or nutrient that you need to heal that ailment. There's a symbiotic relationship.
Not only that, but also trees will give each other what they need. So if this tree needs, and I'm just going to say magnesium, I have no idea if that's actually true, but if the other tree has more, or even if they don't have extra, they'll still give the other tree magnesium or whatever that is. I mean, it's all
perfect.
So we can do that. By the way, that reminds me of something that was in your book that I really want to talk about. One of my favorite books, and it's on this table somewhere, is the book Pay It Forward that was then made into a movie. And I'd love for you briefly, because I want to talk about a bunch of stuff, but for you to talk about your Pay It Forward story with your daughter.
PIF packs. We call them PIF packs. PIF packs. PIF is Pay It Forward. It's an acronym, PIF, Pay It Forward. And my daughter was about 3-4 years old, and she was in preschool. And I'm a golfer. I love to golf, and I had a bunch of snacks on my seat and left over that I didn't consume during the round. And I had, picked her up, and we were going down the off ramp, and there was a homeless person to the left of the sign there, the stop sign. And I just grabbed, the goodies from the side of my seat and just handed it to him. I said, "Hey, man, hope you have a good day. God bless you." And then we drive away, and I thought, it's just a natural thing for me to do. But my daughter, we drove away. She said, "Good, Dada." She said, "Good, Dad." Like, she recognized. I thought, wait a minute, this is an important teachable moment. So we went back home, went to Costco, bought a bunch of goodies, and created these little, what I call PIF packs. And I wanted her to learn by example what it was to be compassionate and kind and giving. Because there's a great study that states when you give an act of kindness to somebody, the serotonin levels in you go up and the receiver goes up. Then the person witnessing, my daughter in the back seat, her serotonin level goes up. So I taught her by example,
guys?
By example, how to pay it forward. We created PIF packs, and now they live in the high schools and the schools around the world, because we've paid it forward to so many people that the word gets out and people can now use it.
Well, I love that so much, and I think that, again, it's such an aspect of creativity and imagination that I always love to talk about on this show, because, again, one of the reasons I do this show is for people to get ideas that you guys can do in your world, so how fun to do something like that with your kids, and then I know at your school, or you did it, and then it grew to your school.
It's growing.
It's so similar to the Pay It Forward thing, because in the book, it says in the very beginning of the book, it says, many of you may know the story, but if you don't, check it out. I won't take the time now to really explain it, but there's a young boy who has a great idea. And in the beginning of the book, in the prologue, actually, it says sort of about timing, which is there are many people with many ideas and many, many acts of kindness, but this particular boy in this particular time did this particular thing. Just gets me.
The movie changed. That's the idea came from the movie.
And it changed a whole group of people in a community, but then it changed all of us who read the book. And here we're talking about it, and we're talking to you guys about it. So the concept of paying it forward, I love. And then now I want to change that. The words, because I love words. And so it's not even so much paying it forward. So the next time you do that, I like share it forward, because paying has a different feeling to me than share. Right. So share it forward. So that's SIF, SIF pack, or SIF pack, or whatever.
It's sunny, so there's sunny
or
SIF
packs. SIF pack, not SIF. But yeah, so I so appreciate that. And I think that that is so, so powerful. Another thing that I love that I read in this book, guys, what's so cool about this book, which I have so many quotes I can go into this book about. It's all marked up so much. And even my subtitle here on the lower third, if you see it, is from this book. I must give Billy credit for that. I borrowed it from him for today. There's so many ideas for somebody like you to write this book. Like you were a model, you're a musician, real estate guy, and then you were called to write a book like this. And what I dig about this so much is that you really have put a lot of tangible, cool, doable ideas in this book. I don't normally like how-to books. I'm sort of tired of them. I mean, I get a lot of them in my line of work. And this one is just the way you lay it out is so humble. And so as an example, I love the cereal party. So when I was a younger mom and had younger kids, I love how you refer to the parties as the red cup parties, because the kids would go to wherever, get those red cups and fill them with beer or, pop or whatever it was, but sometimes stuff we didn't want the kids to be filling them with. But the red cup party, when you said that, I just cracked up. And then you had another idea, and I love it. So go in.
It came from, once again, my buddy Neil D., the Moment Man.
I'm pouring more water for us, by the way.
He and I were, the quote-unquote jocks. We were caught up in being athletic, not so much caring what people thought about us, being popular, going to these red cup parties, getting drunk, acting a fool. People were getting hurt, and the cops would raid the party, and it was trouble. So we thought, we want to be with our friends, but we want to connect in a more healthy and a fun way. So he and I said, why don't we create these things called cereal parties? And we had a gang sign, which you make a C with your left hand and a P, and you put it over it looks like CP, cereal party. So we created this sign language, and we said, okay, we're going to get all of our friends together. We're not going to tell the mass school media. We're going to let just individuals know about it.
The in with the in crowd.
Exactly. So we created these CPs, cereal parties, and we would get together. We'd clear out all the furniture. We'd get like Captain Crunch, Lucky Charms, all these different kinds of cereal, chocolate milk, whole fat, non-fat, and
almond milk,
all this
goat milk.
This stuff, all this sugar high type of sugar and milk, and we get together, we crank up the music, we clear all the furniture out, and we would just rock a cereal party. And we just be together with our friends, and we're on this sugar high, natural sugar high. No one's getting their keys taken away. No one's getting drunk and thrown in jail. But it gave us a way to connect, a healthy way to connect with our friends. So my wife's a high school teacher, and now she has done this in her school, in her classes, and I've spoken to many different groups of kids about this concept, and they're adopting it because it's a healthy way to connect with your friends and still be popular because it's secret.
Well, I think what's so fun about that is you've taken, when you were a kid, you took all the elements of what makes the other bong or whatever they're called, the red cup parties, with the beer pong and all that, with the ping pong table and all that, the elements of what that is. And that sort of brings us kind of around to what we started and what your book talks a lot about, which is the qualities of things. Like when we think of what we want in our life, we might think, we want, a lot of money, or we might think we want, let's just use that as an example. What we really want is the quality that, we don't just want a bunch of money that sits in and is in our room and it's a bunch of paper or something on paper. we want the qualities that brings us. And ultimately, a lot of money brings us a feeling of safety, let's say, or security. It also can bring us the feeling of fun. Like we have options, we have choices when a person has more money. Well, we can also look at that and feel the qualities of what does that mean? I want to have perhaps a bigger house. I want to travel more. I want to feel free to eat the food I want or get massages. Whatever the qualities are about having more money, what does that mean? And we can creatively these days with creative financing that so many people are in some ways being forced into, which I think is kind of a good thing, meaning that we are in more community. So it's like, wow, I have an extra house. I'm going to be gone for a month and I have a pool and whatever. Do you want to come and stay and feel like you have a vacation or feel like you live in this beautiful house for a month? So and then the fun, comes back. So I just wanted to have you talk to that a little bit, even though I just did a little bit too.
So the fun of money and what money
Well,
means?
the qualities of manifestation. In other words, it's not the actual thing, like having a new suit or a new wife or a new whatever it is. It's what are those feelings that makes in me? Like when you were saying about the real estate and feeling into the Christmas morning.
That's
it's
right.
the feeling. It's not just the outside.
That's the beauty of it when you detach
manifestation.
from the outcome, because most people are attaching to outcomes. Think, hey, when I arrive, when I get the big house, when I get the car and the money and the status and the stuff, then it will arrive, and then I'll be successful and I'll feel like I am something. But
Right.
the reality is those are just illusions. I mean, when you if you can detach from outcome, you can learn to live it in this present moment. I mean, I have I manifest mostly through my imagination. When I want to attract something in my life, a law of attraction is never broken. You can align with that. You can resonate and vibrate at that outcome state of your being in your mind, in your consciousness. Then the law of attraction will bring it into you. And that's how I
Absolutely.
manifest. So the doing and the having this stuff of the outcome is really not the focus. Because I can have that beautiful estate right now if I can live it in and believe, and I feel content and complete in that moment now. The law of attraction is going to bring it to you if you align more naturally with that feeling.
Well, and then what is it about that big estate that means something to you? What is the quality in your life that is? Does it mean you want to get together with more people? Does it mean, what does it actually mean?
What's your why?
In a
Yeah.
deeper way.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, the more superficial may be that I look cooler, I've
Right,
made it.
which is
but what is the
illusion.
actual quality? And I think when we do that and we get into that all the time, it adds to our fun. It adds to our joy. Yeah?
And it's always here right now. You can choose that state. You don't have to go down to the store and buy the car. Or, you can live it now.
Absolutely.
You can live it right now. And that's how your imagination, that's why my book teaches you how to use your imagination with your giving to attract abundance in your life. I mean, it's basically, it's a technology, it's a teaching, but it's a way of life. To be a nowist is a way of living every day, every moment, to connect
Absolutely.
out of stress and out of fear and worry and live in this present moment with your imagination to live in a more peaceful surrounding. You can choose at any given time.
I love that. And another thing that I really appreciate in this book is how much you play with words. And one of the things that I love about words, now that I'm writing and working with Whole Life Times, I get to write, and I'm chatting with you guys now, and we do a pretty good job of that, or at least I do. Billy, of course, much better. But when I get to actually be quiet and write, I get to go deeper and deeper into the meaning of what I really want to say. A truthier truth, as I say. That's kind of Dr. Seussish. And when I think of the meaning of words, you really work with words so much in this book. And I think it's something that we sometimes take for granted when we're just sort of chatting, or even as moms, when we chat with our kids, and we'll say something that's not really true, but we get in the habit of it. And then or we'll say it to a friend and they'll say, well, what you really mean is, and you say, oh, well, you know what I mean when I say I never have any money. Well, that's not true. You have a lot of money in the bank, but you're speaking untruths and it's affecting you. I have a little health challenge that I'm dealing with right now that'll go away, and I realized for about a month and a half, I kept saying I have an eye issue. And I realized, yikes, I got to stop that right now because my eye is fine. It's just a little skin area above my eye that needs to be dealt with. But I realized then other people were saying, oh, how's your eye? How's your eye? And I realized, put the brakes on that because I'm not speaking the truth.
That's right.
And I don't want to give energy that I have a problem with my eye because God knows I don't want that, and that's not true. So I think we get into habits and we just kind of talk, and we don't pay attention to what we're actually saying. And So I really enjoy that you pay attention to language so much.
Words are so powerful.
In your life, and because I know you do that in your life and in this book for sure, and you play with words so much. So I like that a lot.
Lots of plays on words in the book, exactly. 'Cause it helps people have pointers, you know, and we use words for, you know, communication, vernaculars in different cultures and societies, but you can control your self-talk. Like with your eye, you never want to put energy on what you don't want to attract. And the self-actualized person, as Abraham Maslow said, would never put their attention on something they did not want to manifest. So use your words, use your consciousness wisely.
I love that expression you use, or that little example you use in the book where you say a person goes shopping and they go into a store and they say, okay, the most ugly thing in this entire place, okay, I'm going to buy that, send it to my house. And they go to all these different places and they pick the most obnoxious thing in the room, you know, clothes, furniture, whatever, and they fill their house with a bunch of stuff they really don't want. And then we realize that's what we do when we're saying, you know, when we're always talking about what we don't want. That's exactly what we're doing.
You just gave a great example with your eye. That comes from Dr. Wayne Dyer. It's a wonderful. I learned about that first and how he's talking about why would you put your attention on something you don't want to manifest. But that's that story of focusing on what you don't want. Then you go home and you realize that your life is full of everything you don't want. And he says, you know, it's because you're insane. What other excuse is there? What other example of this outcome is there? You're insane. Because why would you focus on something you don't want?
Well, I love that. And in your book, you quote Wayne Dyer saying something else I really love. He says, God will send you smarter people when you stop thinking in dumb ways. Like,
isn't that, that's the gospel right there. There it is. It's like, how simple is that?
That is just so perfect. It's so fun.
We obsess over what we don't want.
Yeah.
We need to focus on what we want, and you will bring it into your life if you totally resonate with it, with peace.
You know, it's so true. I wanted to read something to you because I think this is so fun. You guys know I love Dr. Sue Morter these days more than ever. She brings so much cool stuff, and it made me think of our conversation because I heard she does these things called the short answers, which are super short, kind of like you do a similar thing. By the way, guys, check this out, BillyMandarino.com, and you can go and see your little kind of, I shouldn't say little, but they're short wisdoms.
1 minute in the now, yeah.
Right,
I have a YouTube channel,
right.
1 minute in the now.
Which is so cool, and I think it's great because that's kind of what we need these days is in and out.
Yeah, it's quick.
You know, get it and go.
Focus.
And this is something somebody asked Dr. Sue. We were talking earlier about questions before we went on the show, and I said, I don't take questions because I just want to chat with you and get to it. But Sue was asked this question, the meaning of life. And she's like, okay, yeah, let's just have a little question. And I love what she wrote. May I?
Yes,
The Meaning of Life by Dr. Sue. The meaning of life is the meaning we assign to our lives. It's our job to ground ourselves enough to remember enough who we are. We will have the power to maintain the flow of energy that is required to step into creativity and out of survivorship. Don't you love that? The meaning of our life is our choice. The purpose of our life is to awaken to the fact that the meaning of our life is indeed our choice. Doesn't that rock?
She is brilliant. She is brilliant.
She really, yeah, she's something
Love
else.
her.
But isn't it just so, it's just the best. It's like, it's just so true. There's another quote that I wanted to get from you. I think it's on page 80. Oh my God, there's so many things in this book I want to make sure that I get
just
to.
to expound a little bit on what Dr. Sue said, is that the
please.
meaning of life is to literally connect to the present moment. To me, literally, when this book came to me and found me, it was a calling, a dharma. I answered the call. And I felt like the meaning of life was revealed to me. And the meaning of life to me is to live in the present moment, to be a NOW-IST. We're here to experience life and to enjoy it and to have fun with it, but to live present, out of stress and out of past and future thinking, to live in the present moment. You live infinity. You live in the oneness. There is the meaning of life, and peace.
I love that. I love that. I didn't get to see, Ari, did you bring up Dr. Sue or no? We have a fun, you guys, you know, we have different engineers at UBN, and we're just having lots of fun today with Billy here in the studio. And I'm looking also for page, I love this quote also. This is also from the NOW-IST, and I know we're bringing up the cover off and on, which is so cool. Oh, there's Dr. Sue, and there's the NOW-IST, and we're everywhere. I love this when we were talking earlier about death, and William Blake's observation speaks true. This is from the NOW-IST. Death is the best thing in life. There is nothing in life like death, but people take such a long time in dying. At least their neighbors never see them rise from the grave. One has to die to the past or future every single moment to live now. Now that's deep. That's deep, brother.
That's my truth, sister.
I mean,
that's the meaning. Like we just talked about the meaning of life. To me, if we could have a legion of nowists, sentient beings that realize that if you can connect to the present moment and get out of your focus on the past and your worries about the future and live in peace in this present moment, that's when you realize heaven. I mean, it says, the kingdom of heaven is within you. You want to be a nowist. You want to live in that present moment awareness. You're going to recognize that, and you're going to attract all the abundance in your life that you want, because you'll come from a different place. You'll come from the pure present moment awareness. And then you will have an idea, or your imagination will bring something you want to manifest, then it'll be attracted to. You'll come into your life because you'll be in that consistent moment that is out of time. And the death comes from people's thinking, or you die in your worries of the future and the past. And that's why William Blake's quote's so brilliant, because he says that people take such a long time when they're dying because they agonize over their past and they worry about their future. And he understands
that they didn't do enough in all of that.
He's so brilliant. He knows that he's basically saying you need to be a nowist.
Yes,
Forget
get
about
on with it
die
already.
to all of that and live now. Live in this moment, out of time.
And that is just absolutely the best. And Ari, we have like 3 minutes, right? Okay, so I want to raise a glass to you, Billy.
Salute.
I want to raise a glass to the NOW-IST book, to your future and to your now, and to coming to this show and being with me today. And I also want to let us raise a glass to you guys, because I hope that you really, really take in these ideas. Read the book, The NOW-IST, get your own ideas about what you can do with all these different ideas. I didn't get to everything. There's so many more things. Really, I have like 15 more things I want to talk about. So go for it. And you know what? Like I always love you guys to do, use these shows that we do to share it forward, to take your creativity and your imagination to your family, to your heart, to your family, to your community. And if it can get bigger, awesome. But it does anyway. And so let us drink to that, and let us say ciao for now, and let us drink to the NOW-IST.
Thank you so much, Sunny.
Thank you.
It's my honor to be here. Wishing you all the blessed.
And you're so welcome. And guys, just remember, go to Billy's website, my website, do all the following. You guys know what to do. I'm so not good at that stuff. So until next time, I'm Sunny Chayes. This is the Sunny Chayes Show, and we'll see ya. Bye.